Welcome to our garden. From the time I was a little girl, I was intrigued with the story of the secret garden. Over the years, as our gardens have grown, I've tried to keep that idea in the back of my mind and incorporate it into our gardens as much as possible. I really like stone. I have stone pathways along most of the garden. I also like to build steps out of stone and little walkways. This set of steps I built this spring. The round rocks on the edges are some that my son no longer wanted, and I happily took them off his hands and put them out here. Along the rocks I have planted impatiens, and between the steps I put in some ground cover to help control erosion because there was a lot of soil showing when I finished building. At the top of the steps we come to a pathway. I love little stone pathways that wind through the garden and kind of disappear off into the distance. Adds a little intrigue and mystery as to where they go. Up ahead is a little patio area that my husband built about 10 years ago. We love having friends over and family, and we have bonfires up here. It's just a really peaceful place. That looks back down the first set of steps that you saw at the beginning. And this is a pathway we keep mowed. I also love the idea of incorporating little fairy garden area type things into the garden in little out-of-the-way corners and places where if you're not watching and you're not aware they're there, you may not even notice them. This pathway then continues up through the woods. I love walking in the woods. There is a kind of a big hill back here, and I always thought it was kind of a chore to climb that hill always up through the weeds. So a few years back I built this set of steps. At the top of the steps there is a pathway that leads all the way back to our house, and I'll show you later where that comes out. You may have noticed that I have quite a number of birdhouses throughout the garden. I love collecting them, and the birds enjoy them. They lay their eggs there and raise their young there. The past couple of years I've added a lot of bird baths also. I think that has created a habitat that attracts more birds. We see a lot more butterflies too. Here we have iris on either side of the path. It's probably my favorite spot in the garden in the springtime when the iris are blooming. And again, it leads back to a little patio area. Here again we have a little fairy garden area peeking out from underneath the hostas. Coming up the hill, we get to the trellis and the path that leads back to the other end of the woods that I showed you previously. Even at the end of the day, the garden is my favorite place to be.